Sup guys, today I'm going to talk about something that I've been curious about, which is how AA damage is added to the end screen final damage. Now, what I'm going to talk about here has absolutely no impact on your gameplay, so you can just close the video now because you might end up more confused by the end of this video. Just to give you guys some context, AA damage isn't counted properly in the end screen. Here's a quick example. Say your fleet deals a total of 100k AA damage in a fight, and you have one ship that has 500 AA but has no AA gun in her AA slot, while another ship has 200 AA but is using a sextuple bow force plus 13. Common sense tells us that the ship with the bow force is doing most of the work. But it seems like the game randomly distributes the AA damage at the end screen, weighted toward who has the most AA stat, so the ship with 500 AA and no gun would get most of the credit for the damage dealt. To test this, I used the EX mode in the current raid event, which is actually really good for testing, not just for AA, but for everything in general. First, it costs no oil and doesn't drop your morale, so you can run it as many times as you want. Next, not only does it give you the regular end screen, it also gives you the total amount of surface damage dealt. So with a little bit of work, you can deduce the exact amount of AA damage that you deal, as well as gather information about things that usually aren't seen in end screen as well, such as damage over time. Also, the boss sends out some planes, which is obviously necessary to test AA damage. So what I did here was I took Vestal, Akashi, and Anchorage, and I jacked up Vestal's AA stat while not giving her any AA guns, and I put 2 plus 13 sextuple wolf force on Akashi while not jacking up her AA stat, and Anchorage just to use regular AA stuff, with no guns or torps, because I'm also gathering some information for the next video. Anyway, so by taking Anchorage's end screen damage and subtracting the total surface damage that is shown at the end of the raid, I can calculate Anchorage's AA contribution because she's the only one that's doing any surface damage. So I did about 30 trials here, as you can see, and there's something called the central limit theorem. I'm not going to go into it. All you need to know is that it says 30 trials is a pretty good sample size. So as you can see, Vestal with no AA guns ended up being credited with the most amount of AA damage, as I said in the beginning. While Akashi, who actually did most of the AA damage in practice with her 4 plus 13 sex bow force, ended up with the least amount of AA damage. However, it seems like the AA damage isn't distributed proportionally to the AA stat of each ship. As you can see, Vestal got about 56% of the AA damage, while Akashi got 21% and Anchorage got 23%. But if we look at the AA stats, Vestal has only about 45% of the fleet's AA stat, while Akashi has 25% and Anchorage has 30%. The relative rankings of the AA damage seems to line up with the rankings of the AA stats, but the exact ratios are a little bit off. I tried digging a little bit further by taking their effective AA, which takes into account the number of mounts they have as well as their AA efficiency. And I also tried to see what it would look like if I ignored the AA gun mount plus 1, because I remember hearing from somewhere that the AA gun mount plus 1 damage isn't actually added into the end screen, even though the gun actually deals damage to planes in practice. And in both cases, the damage shares are still not proportional to the stat shares. In the end, the only thing that seems to be certain is that the ship with the highest amount of base AA stat will receive the biggest share of AA damage at the end. But as for the other ships in the fleet, the distribution seems like it could possibly just be random, and not only that, but the distribution is not consistent from battle to battle. For example, you can see here that there's a run where Vestal did the least amount of AA damage, and I even kept a screenshot of it because it was so strange. And here is another run where Vestal did less AA damage than Anchorage. So yeah, like I said, this doesn't really have any impact on your gameplay, but it's just something to keep in mind if you're testing your ships in an environment with planes, because the randomness of AA might skew your results, and taking off your AA guns doesn't really work at all, so just keep them on. Anyway, I hope that was informative. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.